Hello students, today I am going to begin my topic, the struggle against marginalization and desire for belongingness. So actually what is marginalization? This is completely a social phenomenon by which a minority or subgroup is excluded and their needs or desires are ignored by dominant group. The main consequences of being marginalized are from a social and economic perspective. It often involves limited rights for an individual or a group, which make it difficult to correct the marginalization. Social exclusion or marginalization takes place when someone or some group of people are systematically blocked from rights, opportunities and resources normally available to other members of society. I like to define marginalization. Marginalization has been defined as a complex process to relegate specific groups of people to the lower or outer edge of society. It effectively pushes these groups of people to the margin of society economically, politically, culturally and socially, following the policy of exclusion. It denies a section of the society equal access to productive resources and avenues for the realization of their productive human potential and opportunities for their full capacity utilization. This pushes the community to poverty, misery, low wage and discrimination and livelihood and insecurity. Their upward social mobility is being limited. Politically, this process of relegation denies people equal access to the formal power structure and participation in the decision-making processes, leading to their subordination to and dependence on the economically and politically dominant group of society. Now, the question is, who is marginal in our society? We must identify and we must be aware the categories of people who are marginals. Common examples for marginalized groups are some members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender community, as well as senior citizen, disability sufferers, people living with HIV/AIDS, vulnerable ethnic and religious minorities, migrants, indigenous people and children. In this case, young people are the rare exception where the issue corrects itself as they grow older. The marginalization of young people is also an example of where rights are limited to protect the group. Now the question is, already we have identified the various groups and considered they are the marginal according to their basic characteristics. Among this group, who are in critical situation and why, it is very essential to know about them. People with disabilities and children are in the very serious condition among all types of marginality. For as long as recorded have been kept, people regarded and treated differently because of their disabilities. Like many marginalized groups of people, they have been feared, separated, isolated, mistreated, ridiculed, put on display and exploited, even denied medical treatment, even killed just for being different. So, let me show you a video where you can see the present scenario of children, those who are coming from marginalized group, because already I have mentioned among all the groups, the children and disabled are in most critical situation. Dimensions of marginality. Actually, marginality depends on some basic dimensions. The basic dimension of marginality is lack of basic resources, link up and interact with one another in various circles. Lack of social or cultural capital often leads to lack of money, and poverty imposes the hardest problems on those least capable of dealing with them. Marginalization denotes the situation in which the life chances of the individual have diminished because of changes in social ligatures and options. So, the question definitely come, what is our concern for the development of the marginal people? What is the government initiative and other initiative for uplift the marginalized group? The development process has failed to end the deprivation faced by the marginalized communities in most of the developing nations. In India, the marginalized communities are rural poor, scheduled tribes, caste, manual workers in unorganized sectors, etc. The marginalized people have very little or no participation in the development process. Their conditions have remained unchanged over the centuries, even after government initiatives implemented for their upward mobility. So, empowerment of the marginalized is a million-dollar question, because empowerment means a process of distribution of power through legitimized means. In human society, everybody has no equal authority, as people have unequal access to the resources that determine power. The process of gaining control over self, ideology, material and knowledge resources which determine power may be termed empowerment. Thus, the process of gaining control over resources is to be seen within the given context of deprivation, structure of hierarchy and the process of legitimization and reproduction. But it is realized that the education has a big role for the upliftment of the marginal people. The development of any nation depends on its educational system, and it is proved that education is the key to human progress and social change. Education is a powerful tool for empowerment of individual. It helps in developing confidence in individual, and community about their own capacities, inherent strengths to shape their lives, and thus enhance the inner strength, intellectual, political, social, and economic against oppression, exclusion, and discrimination. Education is the means by which societies have been known in history to grow out of oppression to democratic participation and involvement. At the end of this lecture, it may be concluded that so many initiatives have been taken for the upliftment of the marginalized, but the result is not satisfactory. If we see as the National Educational Policy 1986 stress the need of the liberalization of education to liberate marginalized section of the society. A large majority of our people, SC, ST, backward classes, women and physically disabled remain for reaching out of educational institutions. This is the present scenario. Government have taken so many initiatives, even Education Act, and children from up to the age level of 14, they should come under the institutional form of education, but the picture is different. If the education system is not streamlined or improved according to the needs of the present day, the primary promise of justice, social, economic and political equality of status and of opportunity, liberty of thought, faith and worship will ever remain unfulfilled. Marginalized will be effective members of society if we can make them productive citizens. So they should have rights to equal access in every aspect of the society in true sense. And not only this, the dominant group of the society, they should have responsibility for the upliftment of the marginalized. They will participate, they will connect themselves with the marginalized group for their any kind of help, and the attitude is big thing in this aspect. The attitudes of the dominant group, the attitudes of all stakeholders, they should change their present attitude, and if we would like to make them productive, attitude will be the very big thing, and the initiative will come from every corner of our society.